Alright, so we've got some basic programming going on here. The next thing that we could do is we've got a lot of blocks going on, and if we wanted to do a great big autonomous program, something for a competition, this program is going to get very, very long as we go. So one thing that we can do is start breaking it down into sections that we can call later. So the first one is we've got this drive forward until it hits a distance of 50, and then we've got the arm closing, the claw closing. So if I pull this down, you can see this block of code here. I could call this multiple times whenever I want the robot to drive forward and find an object and close the claw. So how I would go about doing that is I can come up here to events, and I should see when I receive. So you could have these when I receive things. I've made a couple before. But let's say when I receive new message, and let's say move grab. So it's moving forwards and it's grabbing. So I got this when I receive move grab, I can do this thing. And I can take this up and set it up above my code. So now when I'm in my code here, oh, that's getting so big, I can say broadcast, let's see, broadcast move grab, and as this goes, it's going to still do the same thing it's done before, but this move grab is a different thing. So I can go and I can call this function in different spots. So if I say download now and run, we should see the same program running. So there's our calibration, driving forward, and there's our grab. So instead of it being part of this program here, it's now a sub little function that we can call later on. Alright, so this works as calling second. So this broadcast works to call this little function that we've got over here. Now, the issue that we're going to have with this, and I'll show you, so if I say motion now, after I grab this, I want to pick up the arm. So let's say we're going to come in here, spin arm forward 90 degrees, and I run this again. It is going to crash, so just be ready for the camera to be a bit funny. So I'm going to go download and play it, and we'll see what actually happens. So we've got the calibration, driving forward. Now if you look there, that wasn't the best example, but as the robot was moving forward, you can see the claw has lifted up a little bit. And that's because it's doing both of these things at the same time. So essentially, this broadcast starts this, but at the same time this starts, we've got our arm lifting up starting at the same time. Just to see that a little better, let's go 300, push that robot back, and we'll go play again. So there's the calibration, and see how it's going forward before at the same time that it's running through that function. So to get around that, there's a couple things that we can do. Now, the easiest way that I found is by setting up a variable. So I can say in here, we're going to say set my variable at the beginning to 0. Now let's call this, I'll say rename variable. Let's call this variable finished. So we'll see if that works. That might cause a conflict, but we'll see. So we call it finished. Submit. So I've set finished to 0. So at the beginning, when this starts, finished is set to 0. And at the end, I'm going to say set finished to 1. So essentially, we're just going to play with a high and a low here. So we've got set finished to 0 at the beginning, set finished to 1 at the end. So down here now, let's move this over, in our code, what I could do is say, I've got my, where did it go? My wait until. So I could say broadcast, then wait until, grab my variable, just double check what the variable looks like. It's round. So I could say wait until finished equals 1, and then spin forward again. And if I add that to every function as I go, it's going to have this little stopper that changes and allows it to stop before it goes to the next thing. So now if I go download the program, bigger so you can see, there's my little guy there, and we go play, there's a calibration, drives forward, picks it up, and now it does exactly what we wanted like last time. So it's picking it up, picking that object up the way that we wanted. So that's what that little variable allowed us to do, to change that. So that's how we're making a function within VEXcode blocks.